On this YouTube channel, I've mentioned a few activities that you can focus on that will make you forget about your smartphone. Activities that will make you forget how to spell Facebook or Android or smartphone or Instagram. Activities that really are immersive. And in this video, I will mention about an activity that you know already, that you've probably heard from many people, but it deserves to be mentioned. And that activity is reading. Reading basically makes you learn from other people's experiences. That's what knowledge is, right? Knowledge is knowing about other people's experiences. And reading has changed my life. It really opened up my mind. I didn't know all the stuff that I read. I had no clue. But when I learned all that stuff, I really became inspired and I truly understood what is possible in life. So I will mention a few books that were really helpful to me. So first one is the 6 Pillars of SelfEsteem, Nathaniel Branden. This book is really good, huge, but it's the best book about self-esteem in my opinion. I had problems with self-esteem and this book really helped me out. I'm not going to really review this book now, but this is highly recommended if you want to read about self-esteem and if you want to improve your self-esteem. Another one, a very different one, is Tim Grover, Relentless. Tim Grover was actually Michael Jordan's trainer. So it's, you know, the funny thing is about reading is that you learn about different approaches. There's this whole world of self-development, but each person talks about it in an interesting, different way. All the knowledge is kind of the same, but everyone has a specific, unique perspective. So Tim Grover, this book is also about self-development, but he's tough. He's like David Goggins, you might know him as well. So they're tough. They are very strict about giving your best and demands the best for yourself. And that's what Michael Jordan did. That's why he's a legend. So this book really opened up my mind in terms of how you gotta be strict for yourself. You know, it's good to be nice. It's good to, of course, say well done, or, you know, next time you will do a better job. But sometimes you have to say to yourself, this cannot happen again, and you demand the best for yourself. Like, for example, don't do this if you haven't agreed with yourself to do this. If you told yourself you're going to do a 1 hour no tech hour, then don't touch your phone. End of story. Don't go for your phone. So that book, this one, really helped me out with that. And a very different one is Gabrielle Bernstein, The Universe Has Your Back. So she's very spiritual, and I love to learn about self-development from a spiritual standpoint. Like Esther Hicks, Jerry Abraham Hicks, the book, what was it? Ask and It Is Given. It's not with me now, but that's actually my favorite spiritual book. Ask and It Is Given by Esther and Jerry Hicks. Yes, but Gabrielle Bernstein is also very good. And she learned as well a lot from Esther and Jerry Hicks, but she really opens up about the challenges that she faces, and a lot of people can relate, including me. So very good. Then there's a Glennon Doyle Melton. This is, a lot of women can relate to this book. I read this book, and Glennon was an alcoholic, and she had a lot of issues in her life, a lot of self-esteem issues, and she is really honest about her life. And so I can imagine this book is very inspirational. It inspired me, let alone all the women in the world. So Glennon Doyle, Love Warrior. Very good. Then there's the Joe Dispenza, one of my favorites. So Breaking the Habit. Joe Dispenza also made me realize that there is the law of attraction, but there's also science. So he basically combines spirituality and science. That's what I love about him. I've learned a lot from Joe Dispenza, and there's a lot of good quotes. And it's because of him that I learned that we train our brain and our body to do things, to be someone, but we can break the habit. That's why the title, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. So it really opened me up in terms of really opened up my mind in terms of how we can control our own self, how we can improve ourselves, how we don't need to stay stuck in this person, this is just who I am story. No, that doesn't exist. You are who you decide to be. So I learned from Joe Dispenza, among others. Another one is Lost Connections, wrote by Johan Hari. Yes. About depression. I think, in my opinion, this is the best book about depression. He says that Big Pharma is not the answer. and that there are many other reasons why we can be depressed, and he also shares many strategies how to beat depression. I was depressed, but I read this book only much later, just to understand exactly, okay, what is depression exactly about? Is it just about taking pills, or is there a lot more to it? And yes, there is a lot more to it, and this book explains a lot about depression. Then the last two, Braving the Wilderness, Brené Brown. She's all about vulnerability, that you have to, when you show vulnerability, that's the moment that you're courageous. And I love it, like, because it is scary to be vulnerable. And it sounds, or we were taught that it's weak to show transparency, to show who you are, to be honest about who you are, to be vulnerable, that's weak, but it's not. It's actually very courageous. You are brave when you do that. And Brené Brown is the person who can tell you a lot about it. And then there is James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. Very good. It's about habits, how to change your habits. It's different than from Joe Dispenza's book. Joe Dispenza is a lot about the mind, but he's more practical in terms of how you can change your habits. How can you make sure that you are going to the gym twice a week or 3 times a week? How can you make sure that, for example, you're not going to use your phone 5 hours every day? Or how you cannot just eat Burger King every weekend. Very good book, practical, and as he says, it's all about identity, seeing yourself as a person who simply doesn't smoke or doesn't use drugs, or a lot of good strategies. Last one, you know what, let me share this one as well, just to show you that I don't just read self-development books. This book, 1001 Movies That You Really Need to Watch. So I like to be curious. I like to not waste my time. It's good to be spontaneous, but there was a time I was watching movies a lot, and then I asked myself, Johan, why do you always watch bad movies? Because I never did research. I just put a movie on and I just watch it. But it's 1 hour and a half, it's 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. So you want to ask yourself, why don't you do more research if there's so many good movies out there? So that was the moment I, for example, went to imdb.com and I checked the top 250 best movies ever. imdb.com is the biggest movie website, by the way. And I also bought this book, 1001 Movies That You Really Have to Watch Before You Die. So I just like to learn about different topics as well. Maybe I can buy, you have a book like this that explains or tells you or shares the 1001 best albums, best songs, best paintings, best inventions, just general knowledge. You know, I like to become curious. I don't like to waste my time. When I watch movies a lot, or when I watch a movie with someone, I always do the research and try to find a movie that is going to be a good fit in that situation with that person. But back to reading, and it's a very vital activity. You learn a lot about it because, you know, there's a lot of experiences that we haven't, a lot of happenings, events that we haven't experienced, and by reading other people's books and reading about those experiences really make us realize the potential that we are not alone, that a lot of people have faced misery and failures and unhappiness, and it's just so inspiring to learn from those stories, and that can really make us see, wow, if they can do it, then probably we can as well. So reading, very vital activity. Get yourself a book. Don't read from your phone, please. Not even Kindle. Buy a real book, and expand your mind.